Welcome back. I am Austin Williams, your host for Game Board Spoils. For this video, we're going to do a how-to video of Dominion, and we're going to show you how to play, and it will teach you everything you need to know in order to play with your friends and family, and even teach them as well. So let's get started. So, in our how-to video, we're going to set up the board. Well, it's not really technically a board, but we'll set up the cards to where they should be. So in the middle of the table, you want to set up all the coppers, which is 1, all the silvers, which is 2, and all the golds, which is 3. Now also, if you're playing a 2-player game, for the victory cards, you want to have at least 8 of each victory card. So the estates, which is 1, the duchy or the duchy, whatever you want to call it, you want to have 8 of these as well, which is number 3, and the province, which is the highest one, which is 6, you want to have 8 of these as well. Alright, so as you can see, I kind of switched it around because I forgot to put the action cards, or have a space for the action cards. So for the next step, after you put the treasures and the victory cards, you want to get what's called a randomizer deck. Basically, it has 1 of each action card in the entire box. This will determine basically which 10 action cards, and I mean by saying by 10 is that means you can only do 10. No 9, no 11, you have to have at least a maximum of 10 cards, action cards on the table. So when you have this randomizer deck of all these cards, it just randomizes it so that each game is very different from each other. Now, there are recommended sets for beginners in the rule book, so you can look up that if you want. It is recommended. That's what I started out with. It's pretty fun to figure it all out. But for right now, we're doing the tournament and regular rules that I play and what other people play. So you shuffle the randomizer deck. Shuffled to this. And you want to put out 10. So you pretty much want to put like 5 and 5 or whatever you want to do. So once these action cards are out on the table, you want to put at least 10 of each one. That way you have lots of different action cards so that other players can actually take these cards as well. Now, once there's 10 of each, you can change them around if you want by cost. That's what I do. It's easier to play with. Now, the cost of each card is on the bottom left of the card. So for instance, we got the copper, which costs 0. So you don't have to have any treasures to buy. Like for instance, this festival, it costs 5. The reason why it's higher is because it's more valuable. There's more things you can do with that. So what I do, when I put down the randomizer, I actually put it by minimum. So I'm gonna pause the camera and I'll show you what I did. Alright, so I've reorganized my action cards. So basically it comes from the lowest cost, which this one is 2, and it goes 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. So lowest to the highest. It's just easier to see. It's easier to teach other people to view these cards as more of a value. So once these cards are done, then we'll show you how to play all together. To start out with, you want to give each player 7 of these coppers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Say it's a 2-player game. And also, you want to give 1 estate, or 3 estates per player. And make sure that you do have 8 ones when you put it back. Once that's done, each player puts their own deck and they shuffle their cards. Now we're just gonna play with one. So it's the start of your turn. What are you gonna do? The first phase is called the draw phase. Draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 cards. For this turn, we only have 2. Now these victory cards don't really do anything except for give you the victory cards at the end of the game. So they basically do nothing. But you have 2, so you have a choice to make. You can put down the 2 coppers, and then let's see, what do we have on our table? We only have a chapel, which is 2, or we can get some more coppers, or we can even get an estate card, which will give us a victory card. And so it's pretty much up to you what you want to buy. Now it is recommended to watch our spoilers / strategic video in the next video, so that you can see which action cards to play if you want to do so, unless you like to have a spoiler-free version of your game. So yeah, so now you have 2. So you've played your cards. Now it's the buy phase. Now each player only gets 1 buy per turn, unless it says something like, for this card, if they play this card as well, has another buy. You can actually buy 2 cards with that one. But for this instance, you only have 1 buy. So we have 2. We're just gonna get another copper, so we take our buy and that's it. The next phase is the cleanup phase. Pretty much you're done. So you put it into your discard pile. Now your next turn comes around, you put out 5 cards in your hand. Wait, look at that, that's 5 coppers. That's pretty good at the start of your turn. So you put that down, that's your action basically. Now you can choose up to any of these cards except for a gold or a province, because that's later on. So now you can choose any of these cards to pretty much play. And so it really is up to you what you want to do. You can either, get an action card if you want to build up a better action dominion, or you can do more silver or more treasures, or even get a victory card if you want to do so. Once that's done, you discard again. So you're pretty much out. The deck is gone. In that case, you pick up the discard pile, you shuffle, and then when it's your next turn, it's 5. Doot, 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 doot. There we go. Now we have 3. So now we can choose to put an action card in here. Now for this sake, there should be 10 cards of each action card, so that's why it's depleted. So that's the gist of the game. That's pretty much all there is to it. So the more action cards, or the more of one specific card, the higher the probability that you're going to get that card in your hand. So the more workshops you put in your hand, you'll probably get some on your next turn if you feel like you need to do so. So there is 2 main ways you can win. The person who, on their turn, takes all the cards, or takes the last cards of the province, that ends the game. Or 3 of any supply piles are empty. So let's say all 3 of these are gone. Then that ends the game. Once the game ends, then basically players stop what they're doing, and they can't do anything else except for count their victory cards. Once the victory cards are counted, the one with the most wins. So that is the basic gist of the game. What I'm adding now is called a curse card. This is a -1 victory card. It doesn't really do anything during gameplay, but at the end of the game, they just get negative points instead of plus points. But also, what these do is that, let's say I give you a curse and you put it into your deck and you pull 5 cards, or 4, I don't care. That means that year round, for 5 cards or 4 cards, then you have a less probability of doing something grand during your turn. So instead of having, you know, another copper or another action card, you have a curse and it's really bad. So you want to get rid of these, which gives me to my next thing, which is called trashing your cards. This is called the trash pile. You can put it anywhere on the table, really. And then there's called trash cards or trash action cards. This one is the most powerful card for trashing. It's called Chapel. I believe I can show you this without spoiling anything, because this is one of the main cards in the game anyway. You can trash up to 4 cards from your hand. So if you had this and you drew it, let's say you draw another 4 cards that you don't like, or whatever. You draw 4 cards. You can play Chapel. And it says trash up to 4 cards. Let's say you don't like any of these cards. You can just trash it and it never goes into your deck. So you don't have to ever play those cards ever again and you discard. Some people are like, why do you need to trash cards? It seems kind of stupid. Just imagine your deck later on in the game when you have a bunch of 3s, like you have all these. And trashing is important when you get to this point because you can now trash these coppers. And so instead of pulling coppers from your hand and maybe getting a 3 once in a while, you can actually trash all the coppers in your hand, and then you have a higher probability of getting better cards. It's best to start out the game reading these cards before you play to figure out what kind of strategies that you want to do. Pretty much how you play. It's very simple. So that's how you play Dominion. Now you know how to play, we hope, and you can purchase the game, play with your friends, family, teach them as well, and hopefully you guys have some fun with this. There are other expansions to this game. The expansions may include more treasure cards or more action cards, or even higher numbers for treasures and victory cards. So instead of having 3 or gold piece, it is a platinum piece, which gives you 5. So it gives you more of a variety of the game. But as for right now, I would just start off with the base set. It's perfect for what it is for right now, until you just want to explore more strategies. And as for the next video, we are actually going into our signature video, which is the spoils. The spoils of Dominion. We're going to show you each card. Now you don't need to view the video if you don't want to, if you hate spoilers. But for those who just love to view the cards before you even purchase the game, we're going to show you each individual card. We'll explain the card, if there's any other strategies you can do with that card, and you can determine if this base set's good. There's also other base sets you can play with, so we're going to show you those as well as the expansion packs. So we'll show you all the spoils for that as well, so you can get all the visuals and everything like that. So yeah, until next time, we'll see you on the spoils side of Dominion. See you next time.